The Hunters are now the hunted. Such a cliche phrase in sports, but St. John's basketball being ranked fifth in the country is the program's highest preseason poll ranking in program history. So let's get the why they're ranked so high or low, I guess, from New York Post college basketball writer and co-host of the Eye of the Red Storm, Zach Braziller. Zach, long time, man. College basketball season right around the corner. You were at Media Day yesterday, so you got to feel the vibes 2 or so weeks away from the start of the season. Again, that fifth overall ranking, a lot of people on social media don't think they deserve it because of the way they were bounced out of the tournament last season. So in your opinion, were you expecting a top 5 ranking, and do you think that they deserve it?
Yeah, I thought around 4 to 6. Look, it's a loaded team. I know they returned the star forward Zuby Ejiofor. They have the number one transfer class in the country. They have two guys people think are potential first round picks in Ian Jackson and Josan Sanin. I think the front court is going to be one of the top 3 or 4 in the country. Led by Ejiofor. Yeah, I think on paper they're clearly a top, 5, 6 team in the country. I mean, the only real question I have is point guard. Um, you have Dylan Darling there, who I think is going to come off the bench. He's like their true point guard, and they're kind of going to have a bunch of different people handle the ball. But I think point guard's really the only question. I mean, they got shot makers. They have really good big men. They're going to play defense. I mean, it's Rick Pitino. I have no question, but there's no question about that. Yeah, I think they're really good. I'd be very surprised if this isn't a legit top 10 team all year.
All right, point guard is where you have your question mark, but there's a lot of people that think that their schedule is brutal. They got a pretty strong conference schedule. We already know that, but their out of conference schedule is pretty much just as hard. So do you talk about that loaded roster? Do you think they have enough on that roster to handle dogfights game in and game out?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a really good schedule. I think they were smart to do it. Alabama, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Baylor, Iowa State. Yeah, I think they're going to be an incredibly tough team to play against because when you look at it, when you have Andrew Ford, you have Bryce Hopkins, and you have Dylan Mitchell inside, and then you got some of those guys I mentioned outside with Sellers and Jackson and Sanin, and it's going to be a really tough team to defend because you're going to have to pick your poison. Are you going to double inside and leave guys open for threes, and they have a bunch of guys who can now shoot threes, or are you going to say like, well, we'll let Ejiofor and Hopkins get theirs and try to limit them on the perimeter. It's going to be a really tough team to defend. Um, I think they're a better team than last year. I think they're definitely more talented. I don't think there's any question about that. Um, you know, they've last year they were kind of offensively challenged to an extent, and they're not going to be offensively challenged this year. There's no doubt about that.
All right, so they're a better team than they were last year. They won the Big East tournament. They did get knocked out in the round of 32. You got a chance to see the players for the first time. You got to hear them talk, see what their vibes and their moxie is like. Do you get the feeling that it's Final Four or bust for this year's squad?
I wouldn't say Final Four, but I think this program, I think this year is all about March. Yeah, you would love to win another Big East title. You would love to win, a Big East tournament, but it's about March. It's about, to me, it's Sweet 16 or bust. They need to make a Sweet 16 here with this talent, with this team. We obviously don't know how long Rick's gonna coach. Um, I think not making a Sweet 16 would be a huge disappointment for this team. I hate to say Final Four bust because it's the NCAA tournament. Weird stuff happens. Um, you never know like the draw you're gonna get and that kind of stuff. Um, so, I wouldn't go Final Four bust, but I do think this is a team that can absolutely make a Final Four. They have the talent. Your top 5 preseason, you obviously have a shot to do that, and you get there and see what happens. But I do think second the floor for this team to have to get they need to be at least a Sweet 16 team this year, or it would be a big disappointment.
All right, Zach Brazilla, I'm sure we're going to be coming to you a lot in the up and coming weeks. And you and Dexter Henry are going to be headlining the Eye of the Red Storm again this year. So we can't wait till you guys put out that fire content. Appreciate you coming on today, man.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.